your shame, you know you wear it inside. Run away with all your lies, run away in your disguise, you know you don't fool me. You blame me for your boredom, you blame me for your pain.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Paul Mash TV. We're glad that you could join us once again today. And as you probably noticed, according to the the actual numbered episode, it's 152 now, and it's hard to believe we've had over 150 episodes so far. And we want to thank you all for making the show so great, and we're hearing positive feedback from you all the time. So that really means a lot to me, and so for all that I've watched so far, we appreciate that. And for those of you that are maybe not just a first-time watcher, but maybe you watch for a while, there are several ways you can, contact me. First of all, you can email me. That's pmashtv or pmashtv@gmail.com, and you'll always get a response. So we hope to hear from you there. And also, you can contact us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/PaulMashTV. And be sure to like the page and start a discussion with us there. We'd be happy to hear from you. And also, go to Instagram.com/PaulMashTV official. And be sure to follow us there. And we'd love to hear from you. And also, if you're watching this right now on YouTube, be sure to click that subscribe button right down there. And you'll keep up with all the latest interviews when they become available. So we hope that you'll do all that for us. And don't worry if you lost anything at this point. We have a closing credit screen. All that will be repeated for you, so stay tuned for that. Right now from Springtown, West Virginia, we have John Cassel, and a very talented musician. And it turns out, I guess I already did an interview with him once before, and I thought this was my first time doing it. But I think you'll like it just the same. Not very often that I make a mistake like that. But without further ado, let's go to that interview. But first, here's a commercial message from ClickJam right now.
ClickJam, all around the world.
One thing I can't do is disappoint my fans. All the people around the world come and join the band. I said I'm happy as I ever been. When all the music comes together and it starts to blend.
All around the world.
All over the globe.
Well, hello everybody, and it's time for interview time again. And with us we have John Cassel from Springtown, West Virginia. Thanks for joining us, John.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, okay. We've had a little bit of a problem getting him on here. I don't know exactly why, but at least we got him now. So, why don't we start by the obvious question I like to ask. Everybody has their own story, and that's why I like to ask it a lot. But why don't you tell me a little bit about what made you decide to become a musician? Did you fall into it? Have you always wanted to be a musician? Let us know.
Well, I started out, I had an interest in playing the piano when I was around 8 years old. My grandmother played piano, and I thought it was pretty. And so I took piano lessons at the age of 8. Then later on, couldn't afford them, but I still kind of like banged around on the keys a little bit. Then when I turned 16 years old, my dad had gotten me a guitar for my birthday. And John Thompson book, Pitch, Pipe, and the Pick, and says, here you go. If you want to learn a guitar, here's this. Because he had asked me, and I said, yeah, I like to do that. And I started off at the age of 16, learning how to play the guitar. Mm-hmm. My voice today is pretty much the way it was when I was 17. So doing rock and roll, which is Leonard Skinner, the Deep Purple, Golden Earring, stuff like that, was basically out of the question. I learned all those songs, but I couldn't sing them. And I got into a little garage band, and they said, you can play. You play real good. Just don't open your mouth. So in order to be able to really enjoy playing the guitar, because I like singing too, I started doing country songs. I started writing songs too.
Mhm.
And it just, once I realized that I could actually write a song that sounded decent, at least to me, it sounded decent. I just kept on with it, and it just, I don't know. I was born loving music.
Hmm. Okay, well, that's a good story, and um, so that's good to know. Why don't you let us know a little bit about your influences? Are there any influences that come to your mind, like any popular musicians?
Well, yeah. Back when I was about 6 years old, my granddad had got me an old, or well, it was new then. It was a new Sears transistor, solid state FM radio.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have AM; it was just FM on it, and it was about, I don't know, about 8 inches long, 6 inches deep, about a couple inches tall. It just fit up under my pillow perfectly, and I could tune in the Grand Ole Opry. I'm sorry, it wasn't FM; it was AM radio, because it was WVVW out of Grafton that would play it. My bad. Sorry about that. I'm allowed to get things mixed up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I would listen to the Grand Ole Opry, where Ernest Scruggs and Hank Williams Sr., Little Jimmy Dickens, not Dolly Parton, but Tanya Tucker and Porter Wagner, and all those when I was a kid. And I could imagine myself being on stage with them, because we had an old Victrola where we had the out country album thing, and Take Me Home with Country Roads was on that album thing. And I just kind of like, when I was a kid, country music was all about I knew. As a teenager, my musical influences expanded to rock groups such as Kiss, believe it or not. Some of their music, Leonard Skinner, of course, Foghat and Deep Purple. They was a pretty good influence as far as wanting to have different sounds and different varieties, and that's mostly what I listened to, and that was also some of the things that I could also play at that time. But to get started, I'd have to say it was the Grand Ole Opry, and the applause that I heard after being announced and after they got done playing a song, just like, yeah, I want to be there.
Yeah, those are some pretty good influences there. Sometimes you don't remember these things, until after I talk to people and they mention some of these bands. It's just so hard to believe that all these bands existed, But those are pretty good influences, though. Did you ever have any albums, or would you like to have any albums? Maybe you'd like to talk a little bit about that.
Well, actually, I'm working on album number 5 right now in my studio in Fairmont, West Virginia. The last album I did was Born in the Hills of West Virginia. It's 14 songs. I had on one of the websites, which is number 1 something or something like that, I was ranked number 3 in the country with the song. It was Simple back then, which is a song that I had given for you. Also, number 19 on that particular chart also was Fishing on the Lake, which surprised me. I thought it would be the other way around, but they liked It Was Simple back then better. And a couple of little radio charts, kind of got up on the top 20 with Fishing on the Lake. But the first album was self-entitled, which was John Cassel. It has the first songs and stuff that I've written. Then I had second CD that I wrote, which is Hillbilly Man, which is a variety of different songs that I've written. And third CD was basically an idea. All right, let's put it this way: a mixture of the songs from album 1 and album 2, which is basically redoing it. And I threw a couple of new songs in there. Album 5, which I haven't come up with a name for it yet, come up with all kinds of different ideas, but it's basically a dance tune album. The other songs are upbeat and everything, but this is going to have a couple of songs that I wrote and some upbeat dance tunes that I wrote that I hope that people would probably, well, I hope that people would get up off their seats and dance to. We'll see. That's where I'm at right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds like pretty good stuff, and I'm sure a lot of those that are out here watching that would like to take advantage of some of those albums. Um, um, let's talk about a song that we're just getting ready to play from you in a few minutes. Do you maybe you can tell us what the name of it is and a little story behind it?
It Was Simple Back Then is a song of basically when I was a kid living in Springtown, West Virginia. My grandfather and I, we'd sit out on the front porch, and the house sat right there, right on the edge of Route 50 going into Grafton. And he would sit there with his cigar that he would chew on, his feet propped up on the banister, and he would tell stories. And the song is basically about my childhood and my recollection of that time with my grandfather and living in that early times. And it's basically a story that a lot of people can relate to growing up, telling about, you know, how they lived. I also remember it mentions me and my sister, we would help my uncle. He would go fishing sometimes on Saturday, and he needed some earthworms that he would spray down the hillside a little bit, and when dark come, and take a flashlight and go out and, you know, catch earthworms. She was real good at it. I wasn't so hot at catching them, right? And we would, you know, in the summertime, we would catch fireflies and put them in a jar, and that's also noted. And it's basically a song about my life, reminiscent about that time.
Okay, well, I'm sure everybody will love that, and we'll be playing that in just a moment, as I said. But before we do, I think that's all we really need for now, John, and we appreciate you coming on the show, and we'd love to have you back sometime if you got anything new to plug for us.
I thank you for having me, and I look forward to doing this again with you.
Okay, well, it was nice talking to you, John, and I guess we'll go right to the song. It Was Simple Back Then by John Cassel, right here on All Match TV. Don't go away.
It was simple back then. Honest man worked, earn his keep. Lord, he knows well, things ain't cheap. He only wants just what he needs, and he remembers it was simple back then. And when his day is done, he's headed home to his family where love is strong. They are his strength, they are his joy, and he remembers it was simple back then. Grandpa taught me many, many things, told me stories, they remain on that front porch in them West Virginia hills. I tried to listen when he would say it was simple back then. Growing up then, things seemed tough. Looking back now, we had enough. Food on the table and clothes on our backs. And I remember it was simple back then. Catching earthworms with a flashlight, a mason jar full of fireflies. Spring to summer, fall to winter, and I remember it was simple back then. Grandpa taught me many, many things, told me stories, they remain on that front porch in them West Virginia hills. I tried to listen when he would say it was simple back then. years have flown by like on race day. Children grown now, gone their own way. One day they'll look back and they will say, I remember it was simple back then. Grandpa told me many, many things, told me stories, they remain on that front porch in them West Virginia hills. I tried to listen when he was there. Grandpa told me many, many things, told me stories, they remain on that front porch in them West Virginia hills. I tried to listen when he was there. It was simple back then. Oh, I tried to listen when he was there. It was simple, really simple back then.